Got this at Disney World. I am living the Florida life. I'm in Bill's favorite state.
You keep saying that as if I dislike Florida. I'm there way more than Joe ever is. I love Florida. I just think that you equate the stories that we often will give our Florida-respondent Brittany Brave that might not shed the nicest light on some areas. But I love Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I fit right in.
All of the crazies are here. That's why you both need to be here. I took the leap. I left. I could only take so much bums masturbating on the subway, looking at me and piss on the street.
I apologized for that, and I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at something near you. You happened to be in my focus. Like, I was running I was running after you to apologize, and I accidentally forgot to put my pants back on. So that's on me.
It happened. It's okay. It's all right. I forgive you. Anyway, also happy belated birthday, Bill. What
thank you.
What does the Media Network do for you?
Well, if they had fucking cared for me at all, they would have gotten me a Jurassic Park t-shirt. That's like all I'm looking at now. I love it. Joe got me Flavor Country, a very expensive pack of Marlboro Reds. So that was just an amazing present right there.
Present for both of us, really?
She's trying to.
The more he smokes, the quicker he goes.
Cancer in a box. I got it.
To keep that sentiment to yourself, actually. Any recent guests of note that particularly got you in one way or another that we should be looking for?
So the show's taken a little bit of a hiatus because I had to move down here. I moved the studio here. Just to be clear, I am planning on splitting my time between New York and here, but. We have some really big guests in the queue. Brandon Novak from Jackass.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
He's a good one. Amazing. I mean, should be dead. Like, should have died, has cheated death numerous times. Amazing sobriety story. Myra Diaz-Gomez, who was on the cover of Playboy, is coming on the show. She's affiliated with the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. Gavin DeGraw, who's currently on tour. I got the band.
Gavin DeGraw. He's so good.
So that song from One Tree Hill, the intro song, I Don't Want to Be, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that song was what helped him pay off his student loan debt.
Wow.
And that's so cool. I find that so interesting. So that's all I can think of for right now. I gotta keep some of it secret. So that
you just inspired me. The reason I'm still paying off my student loan debt is because I haven't written a song yet. I'm getting on that right after the show.
Bill, are you still paying off student loan debt? Oh my God.
I didn't go to a real college, so why should I have to pay a real college? It's not debt if I refuse to pay it.
I thought this administration was forgiving all debt. Is that not happening anymore?
Every day it's different. They saying it and doing it are two separate things, and I might have not been grandfathered into that one. I'm very old. But yeah, and then the other thing too is with that Jackass guy, I'm starting to think that every single Jackass vet is sober, save Bam Margera. I think that they are all like clean and sober, except for him.
Yeah, Bill, it's cool to be sober now. That's like the in thing. You didn't know that?
Is this whole thing an intervention?
That is a great segue for one of our stories.
Mom, she's coming in now. This is an intervention.
Problem. The first step is admitting you have a problem, Bill.
I didn't do that.
Bill,
get my parents out of here.
We all love you. You made it to your next birthday. Where is this from? The Guardian. It's just not worth it. Is this the end of sex, drugs, and rock and roll? In recent years, as conversations around substance abuse, consent, and mental health have forced those in the music industry to consider the damaging nature of a lot of accepted rock tradition. That kind of touring life debauchery has supposedly gone further and further out of fashion, replaced by a safer, more enlightened music culture. So has the culture really changed? Or has an ever PR-driven industry just found better ways to hide all the shagging, drinking, and drug taking that still goes on behind the scenes? There's Bethany Cosentino. She is the singer of Best Coast, says there's kind of a joke where people say like every backstage is an open bar, and it's true. You get a rider, you get to drink, you get drink tickets. You can live this fantasy of what it would be like to be a quote unquote rock star. She describes touring as summer camp for adults. I kind of like that. In general, it would seem that sobriety is more common among touring musicians than it's ever been. Might be due in part to the raging fentanyl crisis, turning drug taking into Russian roulette.
Overblown. That to me is the closest to actual fake news, I believe. The fentanyl thing. It's just for pussies that have never done the drug before in their life.
Not true.
Look, if it were really a thing, I'd be dead now.
Get your test strips, people. Debaucherous touring troops haven't died out, but people take it as less of a shock if you decline a beer. Even though most fans expect their favorite bands to kind of party hard. So you're seeing this, yes? Do you know, I mean, you obviously are interviewing a lot of people. Do you agree with this trend? Is it that there's more sobriety, or is it more NDAs being signed?
That's true too. It probably varies from band to band. I really do wish The Guardian asked me for a quote to participate in this particular article. I'm good friends now with Billy Corgan, frontman of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh my God.
I had to name drop. We just had lunch like 3 days ago together. I went to his show, and I have to tell you, whoever her name was, Constantino, whatever her name was in this article.
Bethany Cosentino.
Bethany, let me tell you something. I went backstage about 2 nights ago to the Smashing Pumpkins concert. There was no open bar. There were no NDAs signed. There was none of that. None of that. In
Interesting.
fact, it's so funny. I talked to Billy about this, and I'm like, because I'm expecting to hear insane stories like jumping off of roofs into raps and like doing, I expect craziness and drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And instead, he tells me he goes to bed at 10 p.m. every night. He orders a vegan meal and he just like goes to bed early. And I'm like, what is that? What is that?
He's the Joanne of rock.
Now, here, I actually have a theory about this. Musicians now, I think, are more dependent than ever on touring because that's how they make their money. They are no longer making their money through album sales because of streaming. So they recognize that they need to tour and they need to stay healthy during a tour.
I agree. That makes sense.
They need to hit every city. They need to sell out. They need to be on top of their game because that is their livelihood. So they think, I need to go to bed. I need rest so I can do this again tomorrow in a new city. That's my thought.
Absolutely. It goes back to like when we were in college. We don't handle hangovers the same way we did back when we were 20. Bill? Do you, Bill?
I have an incredible constitution. I'll leave it at that. And also my daily constitutionals are amazing as well. But I will give you a visual for what I'm about to say with regards to the Smashing Pumpkins. Back when we used to wear our blazers like this, I know for a fact, just because I would read the stories and hear the interviews, that Billy Corgan, while not as problematic as his drummer, who was on and off the band and on and off heroin, but back when the reporters used to look like this when they were interviewing him, Billy Corgan did a lot of drugs. I think James Iha was no stranger to it as well. Their drummer, again, had a huge smack problem. And Darcy, I remember that was her one name, Darcy. I don't know if she's still with the Smashing Pumpkins, but she was like the bassist or something. She just looked like she was on something all the time. And I apologize to Darcy fans out there if that's just the way she is. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure Billy Corgan is like that now, but they all went through it, And so, yeah, you're right. Like, it's just that now they're at a time where they've got to hold on to their health.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. Billy Corgan has never drank a beer in his life, and he's never done drugs.
Well, I was listening to him talk about doing, what was it? Like acid. I don't think he counts hallucinogenics then as drugs.
It's a preconceived notion, common misconception, but he is really a clean dude and prefers it that way. He owns a vegan tea shop.
He's a disgrace to bills everywhere. Although maybe Billies act like that. Us Bills, rolling my eyes.
I have to say though, he did pay me like the ultimate. I don't know if it was the ultimate. It was a nice ish compliment. I don't know. Joe, how would you take this?
Okay.
He said, because I'm a huge fan of their music. I've been a diehard Smashing Pumpkins fan forever and still am. And he said, "You're too pretty to be a Smashing Pumpkins groupie."
Oh,
I said, hold on, why is that? Like, what are the groupies for Smashing Pumpkins? He said, fat goth girls, not skinny goth girls, fat goth girls.
It was a compliment to you and then a wide-scale insult to all of his fans is what that was, I think.
Well, I just know that my super skinny toned arms can't really smash a pumpkin on their own. But no, I definitely think that now there's less of a stigma around sobriety. Perhaps back then with the touring, it was super lame if you weren't doing all sorts of drugs, or people didn't talk about it or hid the fact that, in fact, they don't drink or do drugs. But now it's, there is a lot more of it. I'm hearing a lot more interviews of rockers being like, yeah, I've been clean for however many years now. And yeah, I think it should be celebrated so long as the music isn't affected.
Probably be affected.
Is that awful that I'm like, the music is the priority, not your health?
No, but I think you hit the nail on the head, Joe. I think that people are more health conscious. I think that the stigma has sort of eased about recovery and what it means to be sober. And even Bradley Cooper, I know, has been really outspoken about it. But even Billy said he has a rock doc, which is code for like a rock and roll doctor, to join them on tour. And they get these like IV injections with like vitamin infusions. And you're right, like especially when you get it in older age, you have to be at peak performance going to perform at these sold out arenas, because who can have that kind of stamina if you're doing drugs and all the sex and the rock and roll and the fentanyl, all that.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to be careful with those rock ducks. You got to get the right one. As I recall, Elvis had a famous rock doc. Didn't end well for him.
Yeah, didn't Michael Jackson also have a doctor?
Yeah, Jackson had a problematic rock doc as well. Yeah, you got to be real careful on the help wanted ads for rock docs, guys. You got to get the right one.